So the theme of energy and stillness is quite interesting. That comes from the idea about contrasts and contradictions again. You know, how can you have stillness, how can you have energy together? I think this relates to the idea of chi, because each one of us has a different embodiment of ourselves. And when we do creative work, for example in calligraphy or painting, when you make a mark, that mark captures your being in that mark. So when you look at a piece of work, it will project that kind of the energy or the chi or the essence of that person through the work. So for example, when you look at the work, what is obvious, you look at the writing, it seemingly is written quite fast. It's got a sense of energy with that. In fact, the letters, each letter is written very slowly and is built up. Normally I write quite quickly, but with what is obvious, the letters are actually almost constructed very, very slowly. So each letter would take, you know, a minute or two to do. But when you put them together, they look as though they've got a certain rhythm to them. So I suppose there's a stillness in the sense that each letter is actually quite time-consuming to construct, and yet when you see it together, you see that kind of the energy, the movement in the words. Another piece of work that has two elements in the work. It's just a big, bold brush mark. That's the stillness. And then the calligraphy, which is the movement. But then when you look at the two elements together, you see the energy and the stillness in there, you know. So again, it's not about one contradicting the other. It's actually the two elements, the two opposing elements working together. The work in the beginning, the space, the spatial form is important too. So when you make a mark, a black mark, you're activating the space, the negative space. So that in itself creates a kind of a contrast and contradiction, because it's black and white. To me, I kind of work in that way. I'm always reactive to each element that I put onto my work. I find that quite interesting too, because it makes it more spontaneous and intuitive, rather than, again, this is more traditional way of working with calligraphy. You would plan every line of writing to the nth degree, so that everything is perfectly laid out, measured, and so on and so on. I don't do that.